Welcome back. I'm Susana, and this is the Susana Gibb Show. With me today is Laura Wilkinson. She is Olympian and Emmy winner. I just learned this, so I'm super excited. I don't know anything about this Emmy. We're going to learn together. And she is a mindset coach. And I'm super excited to dive in. I know, I'm sorry. You hear it all the time.
I love it. It's perfect.
Okay. Before we dive into the podcast, just a quick blurb about Gibb Insurance Services. We sponsor this podcast, and since we're talking about pools, anybody who has a pool, one of the next questions that we ask them is, do you have an umbrella? It's a great way to add an extra layer of liability because you do have this thing in your backyard that is a exposure risk. Nobody really wants to think about the bad things that can happen in a pool, but they are cause for a lot of accidents. And so having an umbrella in place is just an extra level of protection. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. And okay, I'm going to get to the Emmy, but I'm not going to go there yet. Walk me through what it's like to be at the Olympics.
It's kind of surreal. Like the Olympics are a whole different vibe. It's like festival kind of vibe with inspiration and all that wrapped into one. I mean, you've got 10,000 athletes and coaches living together in a village, which is its own little world. You've got all the pockets of facilities and then all the people who come in. Like it is just, it's crazy town pins, like little pins with logos from different federations and sports and things. It's traded like currency. It's an amazing place to people watch. It's absolutely fascinating. And I think the best place to people watch is actually in the athletes village in the food tent. It looks like a big circus tent and it's open 24/7. And you will see the huge, tall basketball players right next to the itty bitty gymnasts, all in line to get their food together. It is absolutely fascinating. You'll see a Michael Phelps chasing after a Kobe Bryant, like these people who are phenomenal in their own right, chasing like little kids after their heroes. And it's a really fun experience and something you have anywhere else.
So which Olympics were you in?
2000, 2004, and 2008.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so where was 2000?
Sydney, Australia.
And 2004?
Athens, Greece.
And 2008?
Beijing, China.
Okay, I interviewed somebody else at the 2008 Olympics,
Nice.
Erica McLean. She's a triple jumper.
Okay, very cool.
But she was like, yeah, I was sitting next to the basketball players. It was crazy. And she talked about the Olympic Village, that how it's very kind of self-contained. You can do anything in there.
Oh, yeah.
Which experience, if you had to pick like your favorite one, it's kind of like picking your favorite kid, right? But which one would you say was your favorite?
Like which Olympics? It's hard because I like them all for different reasons. Like, and I'll just say that because they were all good. Obviously Sydney I loved because I won that one. I mean, that's great. Now Australia's fun. They speak English. I got to do the Sydney Harbour Bridge climb afterward. Like Sydney will have my heart forever. But Athens, we had a little more freedom to go see other events. Where in Sydney I saw no other sports except the ones in our venue. And in Athens, I got to go see badminton and all kinds of things. So, and because the train was like right outside the village, so we could go anywhere. It was really neat. And then
why couldn't you go anywhere in Sydney?
You had to take the train like an hour away. Like it was a lot more difficult. And we were a younger group, and so we didn't have as much freedom to go out. It was like a safety thing. But in Athens, we were all collectively older, like mid-20s, and so they gave us a lot more freedom to roam about and meet up with family. And then in Beijing, the athletes village was phenomenal. I mean, they rolled out the red carpet. There were statues and koi ponds. And it was just absolutely beautiful. The facilities were amazing. Like I dove in the cube. They would change colors at night. We were right next to the bird's nest. Like the way they built it up was just like nothing else. So they were each different and unique. And that's what makes them all special, I think.
So when you would go the night before you dove, what does that look like for you?
We do like 3 rounds. So there's, like a preliminary, a semifinals and a finals. And so, yeah, that first night can be pretty nerve-wracking, but I don't know if it's more or less nerve-wracking than the final night. It just kind of depends on how they're spread out in the schedule, but it can be intense, So there's a lot of like self-talk going on and getting yourself in a good place and how is the team doing around you? Is that a distraction? Is it helping you? Can you pull away? Like a lot of times I would just pull away from people to just kind of be in my own space to make sure I was in the headspace I needed to be in, you know.
Did you listen to music?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Music is just so great because you can use it to get you worked up. You can use it to calm down. You can listen to it for the words that are in it. Like, that music is just, you know, and it can get you like that to the place that you want to go if you do it on a regular basis. It's kind of magical. Like,
Did you have a go-to song?
well, I'm a big classic rock girl. So, I mean, there's a lot of Tom Petty and Van Halen in there, Aerosmith. Like, those were kind of my go-tos back in the day. Still are a little bit.
And what, so you won gold in Sydney?
Yes.
And how did you do in the other ones?
I was 5th in Athens, won the World Cup leading into that. And then I kind of had an injury during the finals in Beijing, so I ended up 8th or 9th. I don't even remember. So,
Is that the one where you broke your foot?
no, that was before Sydney.
Oh.
Yeah.
How did you dive? Because you were diving with the broken foot, right?
Yeah.
What kind of break was it?
Well, so about 3 months before Olympic trials that year, I was at a meet and we were doing like a typical meet warm-up where we do flips onto mats. And I came out of this one flip a little bit early and hit both my feet on the block of wood that I was jumping off of. And so I had a stress fracture in my left foot, and then I broke the 3 middle metatarsals on my right foot completely. And one of them actually, like kind of like the knuckles in your foot, like you have in your hand, it slid underneath. And the emergency room doctor didn't even x-ray it. He told me it would hurt more and be more swollen if it was broken. So it wasn't for a week until I finally got home in excruciating pain that my doctor x-rayed it and saw that that bone had slid underneath my foot and it already calcified to the bones next to it, so it was stuck there. So it was going to take re-breaking everything, pinning it back together to fix it, but that would have taken me out of Olympic trials. So we decided to just cast it the way it was to just see. But we didn't know if I'd be able to walk on it or jump on it because there was a bone protruding underneath. So it was kind of it was just a gamble, you know. I mean, it was like, well, if I do surgery, I'm out. So I may as well cast it the way it is and see if that works because I'm going to have surgery anyway. And so it was, even after I got out of the cast, it was still excruciatingly painful because I had a bone sticking out underneath my foot. Like, I couldn't walk around the pool deck barefoot. I had to wear a tennis shoe. And it was a kayak shoe for a little bit and then a tennis shoe up to the 10 meter and then throw it down, trying not to hit people, you know. So it was an interesting road.
And so the 10 meter, describe for somebody who doesn't know what a 10 meter.
Are you metrically challenged like me? It's about 33 feet. So imagine going up to a 4-story building, because it'd be the top of a 3-story building. So look out a 4-story window and imagine like throwing your body off, doing some flips and twists that I know you did in gymnastics. You know, imagine doing that and then trying to go in the water without a splash, but you're hitting the water at 35 miles an hour.
That's
so
why I don't,
like concrete.
I don't literally understand how you could do all of that with a broken foot, because they're like, oh, it's water. It's no, water can be very hurtful too. How did you even set up for the dive? Because you can't push off that foot.
That was the hard part. That was the hard part. I mean, like, once I was off the platform, it was fine because it's hands first on the water. But the push off was really hard, especially on one particular dive where you have to stand, like your heels are hanging off the end of the platform toward the water, and you have to throw at the platform, which was the direction that I actually broke my foot in. So I had to come really close. So it was scary. I was scared I was going to hit my foot again, but also putting all the weight in the balls of my feet for that dive was very painful. So it's like that one dive was really the hardest, because any other back takeoff, you're not putting quite as much torque on that area, and there was no danger of hitting. So it was really just that one dive that was really troublesome.
I mentioned to you before that I had dabbled in diving, but that getting close to the board is scary. It's so scary because you're supposed to get so close.
You have to be a certain distance so that you can make the dive.
Yeah.
But there's a safe zone. Like, you can be too close, you know. So I've seen some bad accidents. You know, fortunately they don't happen as often as you would think, but and it can be prevented if you start to see somebody leaning the wrong way or something. If the coach catches it, they can move them back out. But it does happen every once in a while.
So there's this movie. It's going to immediately age me. It's this Kevin Costner movie, For Love of the Game. Do you remember this one?
I love that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I always think about that because, well, I was a softball pitcher, so I loved it. But that phrase that he uses, clear the mechanism, it's right before he pitches, and he says, clear the mechanism, and it goes quiet. How did you prep before you were getting up for a dive? Because I have to imagine the Olympics it's noisy in there, right?
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game from what you're used to. Well, and I love that because that's his trigger phrase. Like that's a whole thing. If you can like have a phrase that puts you in a certain place or gives you a certain sense or feel, like there's a bunch of different ways you can use trigger phrases or trigger words. So I love that they kind of highlighted that. I think that's really neat. But if you notice also toward the end of it, it's not working. So that's a real thing too that you've got to kind of be prepared for and know how to work through.
Oh, I forgot about that part of the movie. He keeps trying to use
I
it, and
actually
it's not.
love that they did that because that's so real. You know? Yeah. It's not all just perfect roses and works the way you want it to every time. It does fail sometimes.
Did you have a trigger phrase?
I had some like scripture that was good. Like I could just say part of the scripture and it would like come to me, like, you know, it would just put me in that place where I'm focused on the right things and I could let everything else go. That was helpful.
What scripture was it?
Well, there's a bunch of different. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Just because I knew I couldn't do anything apart from him. And so it wasn't just my own strength. I was trusting him in the process. So it took like the pressure and the weight off of me and I could just trust him with the results because I can't control the results anyway, but as athletes for some reason we think we can, you know, so it took pressure off of me a lot of times and put me in more of that trust mode and just allowed myself to do what I've been trained to do instead of like overthinking everything, which is a really easy thing to do also, but then not worry about the results because that's out of my hands. So that was one of my favorites at the time. I've had a lot over the years. It just kind of, you know, and it's okay to change things as you go through different seasons of your life. You have your purpose can change. The things that mean something to you change because you have different events happen in your life and you're being shaped along your journey. So it's okay for that stuff to ebb and flow. If something didn't work, you know, it worked here, but it's not working now. Like it's okay to pivot and try something different. Yeah.
You just went mindset coach on me.
I did. I'm sorry. I'm like, yeah. I had a bunch yesterday and I've got some today too. And I'm just,
Which we were going to get into. That's actually a really good segue because you have taken all of those experiences into being a mindset coach. Although I'm not quite ready to get to mindset.
It's okay
because I want more.
It's just who I am. So I'm
know.
sorry. I just go there.
It's okay. I just want more like the Olympics is kind of everybody's dream. I remember watching Mary Lou Retton.
Perfect 10 vault.
Yeah. I went out in the yard and I was doing backflips off the picnic table and I was sticking the landing. Like you got to like live it. What's your favorite memory of the Olympics?
Well, I love that you just brought all of that up because Mary Lou got me into gymnastics, the same thing, but I was not going to be a Mary Lou gymnast. So I eventually found diving. But one of my favorite memories from the Olympics was before my last dive. It was a very tumultuous final, like we do 5 dives in the final, and a lot of stuff happened. And I didn't know the scores. I didn't know I was leading by like less than a point or something. I had no idea. I just knew I was in striking distance of a medal. That's all I knew. And before my last dive, like I had been so intensely focused on what was going on because there were a few issues and that one really difficult dive was around before. So I like was not paying attention to anything else but like what had to happen in that moment. But on my last dive, I knew the dive would be good. It was like an easy dive for me. I just didn't know how good. But at that moment, I allowed myself to kind of take a step back and look around me. And I have like this panoramic picture in my mind of like where my coach was, where my parents were sitting, like way down at the end, where my teammates were going crazy with a flag. Like I remember all of that. I remember looking at the ref and he like nods at me and blows the whistle. And I didn't realize that as I was like pulling away with this lead, this really narrow lead, that the crowd was like on my side and I was becoming the crowd favorite. So 17,000 people were cheering for me before I was going and I almost didn't even hear them blow the whistle. And it was just this amazing moment. And I realized like, I don't know what's about to happen. I don't know if I'm going to end up first or if I'm going to end up fifth, but I'm living out my dream right now. Like I am in the hunt for an Olympic gold medal and I get to do that. And not everybody does. And so to me, that was almost more precious than getting the medal at the end because I knew it in the moment. And so like, that's probably my favorite memory.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, 17,000 people, all energetically sending it to you. And then you won, right?
Yeah, which was surreal. Like I went and 4 girls had to go after me. And I couldn't see the scoreboard where we had to wait because of all the TV. We had to stand over to the side. But my coach could see the scoreboard and I could see him. So every time somebody would go, he would turn around and be like, yes. Okay, like, does that mean we're on the podium? Does it mean we're gold? Like, I don't know what that means, but I think that's good. And so when the last girl clearly went past vertical, he just came running over and scooped me up. And I'm sitting there like, well, what place did we get? And he just kept saying, we did it, and it was like, oh my, it was so overwhelming. I didn't know what the scores were or anything, just him telling me that we did it. And then I went over to wave to the crowd and they like erupted. And it was like, I just started bawling. It was so overwhelming in like the most beautiful way. Yeah.
What dive did you do? What was the winning dive?
Well, my last dive, I wouldn't, even though it was the winning dive, I wouldn't say it was the one that won. It was actually the one I was telling you I was struggling with. It was painful and it was scary. That dive changed everything for me. And my coach really pushed some buttons in that one. But that dive is really what sealed the deal for me because it was the best one I had done since before like breaking my foot.
Can you describe it?
The dive or what happened beforehand?
The dive.
Yeah, the dive. So it's an inward 2.5 somersault pike. So you stand backwards, you throw at the platform, straight legs, so you come real close to the platform. And the best part was just lining up and going down and not a drop of water came back up. So that was, that's a good feeling underwater and you're like, ooh, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to follow up. The most amazing experience with what was probably the moment where you thought, in movies, in any kind of movie, they call the scene, it's the dark night of the soul. Mm-hmm. It's when literally everything is bad, it's terrible. And lots of times in movies, the cavalry comes in the morning, right? Mm-hmm. But that dark night of the soul is when all seems lost. Mm-hmm. Do you have an all seems lost moment?
Well, that's probably when I broke my foot, like way before that. Or you wanted like actually in the Olympics?
No.
I mean, I think it was when I broke my foot because I had left my college scholarship. I had left all my friends. Mm-hmm. I'd won 2 NCAA titles. All my friends were there. I changed my major like 5 or 6 times. I finally found a major. Like all the things were good and right there. But with the Olympics coming, I knew I needed to focus if that was my only shot to try and make it. So I left all that behind. So it's kind of this big leap of faith. I had no money to pay rent, but yet I had this apartment. I was like, how am I going to do all this? But it was kind of coming together until 3 months before trials when I shattered my foot. And it was just like, I just left everything. I gave up everything. And now this, like, am I just watching my dream just slip through my fingers? So like that kind of first week after I was home and realizing what was going on with my foot, that was what was truly terrifying to me. But my coach and I decided that, hey, this might be my only shot. Like I have to try. I don't want to look back in 5 years and be like, well, what if? Could I have? Like, I think I'd rather go and fail than like live with that thought, always wondering. It would like haunt me. So we came up with a plan to think outside the box. And like we started doing video study and I would like cut together all my best dives that I was planning on competing and I would study them. And we'd go to the pool, he would hold my crutches and I would go up, shimmy up the ladder on my cast and my good foot and hop out to the end. And I would model, like go through all the actions of my dives, like pretending to dive. And he would coach me from the side of the deck. I was going through everything, like from my point of view in my head. I would sit there and imagine meet scenarios. I mean, this was like 6 hours a day for 3 months.
Were you actually doing the dives at all? Or
no,
you were
I was
just
up
visualizing
on the 10 meter pretending to dive.
That's
for a long time.
Bananas.
Yeah. And after several months of that, I started to think I was bananas. And I had swimmers in the pool next to us who were making fun of me. And like, I was just sitting there like, how's pretending to dive going to get me the Olympics? And it was crushing. Like, I think that was the moment I really wanted to give up. And what I didn't realize was because I had been doing this day in and day out for so many hours a day for months, all these kids on the pool deck had been watching me. And they really started to believe in what we were doing. Mm. And so they started cheering me on. Like I would do a pretend entry and they'd be like, I didn't see a drop of water. I'd give it a 10, and they'd clap and they'd make me wait in line. Like I had to, they made me feel like I was part of something again. And that really kind of changed everything. Because I was like, okay, well, at least if I'm crazy, I'm not alone, and maybe this can do something. Like it kind of revitalized my belief in what we were doing, or at least my hope. And the craziest thing was once I got my cast off, I only had 2.5 weeks before the trials. That's like zero time to get your dives off. Usually it takes me a month to get my dives back off and not be terrified of them. And I did that in 3 days because I had been up there every single day going through all of the actions and all the scenarios, so it wasn't scary. I had been there. Even though it wasn't real, it was real to my brain. And so it didn't have the same fear that I normally have getting everything back off, and it came back really quickly. And I mean, I won the trials by 40 points. Like, that's a really large margin, which is it's almost more surreal than winning the Olympics in some ways, like how that happened, but also built my belief in what we were doing is making a huge difference. I need to keep doing that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
When Erica, when I interviewed her, she was the triple jumper. She said that she was like, everybody at the Olympics is amazing. Mm-hmm. They're trained as well as you. Their nutrition is just as good as yours. Their bodies, their everything. It's the mind that's the difference.
Yep. 100% agree.
Can you explain the science of why that works? Or do you just know it?
I don't know if I could explain the science. It's really, I love talking to sports psychologists because they'll explain what I'm saying in like science terms. I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
You just know why it works.
But I understand that like you're actively rewiring your brain. Like you can, I mean, honestly, it's biblical too. Like it's you change your heart by renewing your mind. Like you do these things and you catch what you're saying. You got to be very aware of how you're talking to yourself and the things you're saying and how you're seeing what's happening. And you can change that story in your mind. You know, you could do that in a bad way too. Like you can spiral out of control. Like people start talking negatively, you beat yourself up and you take yourself out. Or you could realize you're doing that and you can start changing the way you talk to yourself, the way and that starts to change the way you think, which changes the way you react, which changes the way you ultimately respond. And it actually starts to build your confidence because you're looking at it differently, you know? Mm. It's just like saying, oh, I want to go to the Olympics versus writing down, okay, my goal is to go to the Olympics and I'm going to do this, this, and this to get there. It goes from this, oh, that would be nice, to this is happening and this is how I'm going to make it happen. Mm. It becomes real to your mind, you know?
So this is actually the segue into your mindset coaching practice. Do you work with mostly athletes or anybody?
Mostly athletes. I've had a few like business people and moms and things like that, but I mean, it really is a lot of the same skills for life. I mean, honestly, like that's one thing I love about sports, and I know you'll appreciate this having been an athlete, is sports are so black and white, right? You do this and you win or you lose. Like, and that's kind of how it is. But in life, it's all gray, right? All this different gray, and it's hard to sometimes decipher. But the lessons that you learn in sport, if you start applying those to your life, it makes things more clear and it helps you understand how to process certain situations. And I think it's helped me in my life outside of the pool for sure. And it's kind of like having a parable or an analogy, you know, like, but it's something that you've lived out in sport, and that's why it helps you in life, I think.
That was actually one of the big reasons why, you know, we haven't, the insurance agency, which is being an entrepreneur, is really, really challenging.
It's like being an athlete, right?
Yes. But there are so many lessons that you take from sports that you can go to business, which is why we kind of did this pivot this year to really focus on, all right, what lessons can we learn from athletes that we can apply in business that help us get up every day, come to work with a good mindset? Like my new thing is, because I've caught the pattern happening, that I wake up and one of my first, I may have cried as a baby when I woke up. Like some babies cry before they even open their eyes, you know?
Yeah.
Because one of my first thoughts is, I don't think this is going to be a good day. And it's such a negative Nancy thought.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, hey, let's maybe have some coffee before we decide what kind of day this is going to be. Yep. Let's just get up. And the importance of setting a routine, which has been a big game changer for me, right? I get up, I do a little bit of yoga, I have this whole pattern, and it's changed. How do you talk to people about their morning routine? Because I feel like I'm reading, like it's becoming more and more popular that people give ideas and plans on it. What do you like to do?
I think it depends. Like, I'm not, I don't have a great strict morning routine or anything like that. I mean,
well,
I have
because you have 4 kids.
Yeah, that's probably for sure.
I'm just lucky to brush my teeth.
And we homeschool, so we're like, okay, we might be in our pajamas a little longer than we need to be. But, you know, I think it depends who you are and where you are and how you operate. Because some people go overboard with their morning routines. And it's like, if I don't wake up at 4 a.m. and do 800 things before I start everything, like then you're setting yourself up into a ritualistic mindset. So it's like, well, if it's a routine, it's great. It can be flexible. You can change it. But if it's a ritual and you don't do one of the things in there, then you have set yourself up for failure because you think, I didn't do this thing, it's not going to be a good day. So there's a balance there, right? And that's how I talk to athletes about prepping for competition. Like, you want a solid routine, but routines can be adjusted and they can be flexible. Like a ritual, you're locked in, and if you mess up, you've already taken yourself out in your head. And so I feel like morning routines are like that. I think it's great to have a structure. Like, if yoga makes you feel good and it loosens you up and it kind of opens your head for the day, I think that's awesome. But if you feel like, if I don't do yoga, like XYZ will happen, like, then that's, you know what I mean? There's the balance there. So there's a healthy way to set it up. You know, when I went back in my athlete days, it was a lot of wake up, eat breakfast, and just go to the gym. So that was always kind of, I didn't have like a lot of structure before that because my day just started there. So that's an area I actually struggle with. I mean, I definitely do my coffee every morning and I try to like read or something in the beginning, but then I watch some news with the kids and we talk about the day, we do a devotional, and then we kind of get going. So it's a loose, I guess it's kind of a routine now, but we're still building it. Yeah.
So can you share a story? I mean, obviously it's confidential, I know, but can you share a story of somebody that you've helped an athlete with your mindset coaching work and what that looks like? Because it's a little bit like, well, what do you do?
Yeah, well, and so there's a lot of different reasons people come to me. Some are just plateaued and they want to like elevate their performance. How do I compete better? Like, I win all the warm-ups, but I can't do it in the competition. There's other people who have legit mental blocks, like they cannot go on a dive or they cannot go on a skill on the balance beam or something like that. I've also had baseball like pitchers come to me, like where they're trying to be getting into a D1 school or they're trying to be recruited into the MLB, you know, and so it kind of depends on what their goals are. But it's really cool. And I understand now why coaches coach, because when you can help somebody get through something really difficult and they overcome that and they start being successful and enjoying what they're doing more, like, that just feels so good, you know? And it's like being a mom, though. You get zero credit, like you're never recognized for it, but it feels so good because you see what they're doing, and that is just so fulfilling. So that's probably my favorite thing, is when they break through and something awesome happens, like they win a medal or they hit the score they were looking for, or they get that contract. Like, that's just, that feels so good.
So do you do it in like, is it regular like therapy sessions, coaching sessions? Are they physical?
I'm not
or
like
do you
a
just
counselor or anything like that.
Well, no, but I know, but it's like, do you just sit down with people and talk about it, or?
So mine's mostly Zoom, just because I work out of the house with my kids, and so that's just the easiest way for me to be flexible, because since I homeschool, like that way I can be flexible with my time and I can reach people everywhere. It doesn't have to be just local. So that's really opened it up, because I mean, I have people in Australia and England and, you know, kind of all over the place. I have a girl, I think from Brussels, that just joined in. So that's kind of cool too. I get people from all over the place, and all different sports, but I only have one or two that actually come to the house, and they were people from my old team. So I knew them really well. And that's always fun when they show up, but
that's so interesting. Okay. So, before I move on to the Emmys, I was thinking, I wrote down, because, what did you think about when Simone Biles had to pull out from the twisties?
A legit thing. I mean, that's a total, it's like a mental block type thing. Like, it's real. So I think it was smart. I think it was wise to do that. Like, if she wasn't safe, like, you don't want her to go break her neck or something. Like,
no, if she doesn't know where because the twisties is the definition, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's as she's doing flips and twists, she doesn't know where she is in the
specifically
air.
Twists.
Yeah.
And
it's not. It's okay.
They called it the twisties because it's on twisters. Like, she got back up into beam and just changed her dismount to a double back pike instead of, I think she was doing a full in or something like that. So she took the twist out so that she could still do beam, and she medaled on beam, which was awesome. So I think that was very smart. Like, you have to protect yourself and make wise decisions. I don't necessarily think she handled the press conference about it great, like didn't explain it well, but I mean, you're in a hard situation, like, you know, like, how do you explain that?
She took a lot of criticism.
She did, and I don't think she needed to get that much criticism.
No,
but,
I felt bad for her.
So, you know, but I think that was the fallout, was she didn't explain it well. And so that's where all the backlash came from. But it's a really real thing, and people struggle with that.
So that would have been somebody potentially that you would work on mindset. And it's just like, all right, how do you coach somebody through it? You're just talking about it? Like, do you bring it to the forefront? It's
all the things, because I am not their actual coach, like in the gym or on
Right.
the pool deck or whatever. So it's challenging in that way, but I can give them tools to talk to their coaches about certain things and how to like, hey, what are some ideas? How do we break this down and take a step back to move forward at, learning like at what point is it a problem? But everybody has a different issue with it. And sometimes these things have zero to do with the actual skills, and it's from stress-related things outside of it. Like this could very well have come because she had so much pressure going into that Olympics, and she talked about that. So that could have been a big part of it. It may have had nothing to do with the actual skill, but you've got to be able to process that, and that's hard to do in a week in that environment, So it really, we're all individuals and we all handle things different. So I kind of have to get to know the person and what their specific situation is to kind of help them figure out a plan to get through it.
Nice. Nice. All right, let's go on to Emmys. Talk to me about the Emmy. So exciting.
I had no idea that was going to be a thing. Like I just got this notice that NBC won this Emmy for their live Olympic broadcast of the Paris Olympics. And it was the first time I think commentators, announcers got to be part of that award. So that was really special, So now we have this Emmy like in my office, and it's really cool because my husband likes my gold medal, but I think he's really more wowed by the Emmy because that's like television and film and all that kind of thing, that's so out of our little wheelhouse. And so that was kind of fun to see him like a little kid in a candy shop looking at it.
My sister-in-law has an Emmy because she works on. She worked with ESPN, and she does like the crawl thing. It's kind of heavy.
Yeah, it's legit. It's
she's like, do you want to hold it? I'm like, yes, I want to hold the Emmy.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's so fun. So you got to go to Paris to do those Olympics?
I did. Yeah, amazing. It was fun. It was really well, and we were there. So one of our guys in our crew, Ted Robinson, he's been there like 30 times for like the French Open and stuff. So he knew Paris inside and out. And so he was like our tour guide. We had little metro passes. So we would go all over the place, and we got to see swimming and gymnastics and all kinds of like volleyball and fencing. Like the fencing venue was gorgeous. And I'd never watched fencing in person. So like that was really incredible. But Paris is very, very cool. I'd never been there before. So that was a lot of fun.
How often do you get asked to come? And I guess are you considered the color commentator? Is that what they call it? Because you're giving feedback on the dives, not the specifics of the mechanics of it.
Right. I'm like the analyst or the color. Right. Yeah. So
we've seen this dive 3 times today. She's la 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 la.
Her left pinky toe wasn't pointed. Yeah. Exactly.
Her left pinky toe.
Yeah. So this was kind of my introduction to it. Like I've done that on smaller events, but and this is my 3rd Olympic Games with NBC, but the first time was in London, and I was actually running around with a P&G campaign. Like I was talking to the moms of the athletes, and that was kind of fun because I was a new mom. So that was fun to interview the moms and the athletes and like put those things together. And we got to go to different venues, see the Queen. Like that
my gosh,
that was she showed up at the pool next to our booth, and so I did this whole stand up where I just appeared, and she's like right behind me, and it was that was like my gold medal moment of that Olympics. And then in Rio, I was on the pool deck, but I was a reporter on the deck. And so I didn't really even get to see much of the diving because we were so far away. But it was really fun doing these stand-up reports. Not my favorite thing in the world. It's really stressful, but it was a great experience, and I grew a lot. And so being in the booth this time and getting to watch the diving and talk about the diving and share the stories, like that's my favorite. So I had a lot of fun doing that.
Are you going to go to the next one?
If they ask me, I'd love to. It's in LA, so that would be amazing in 28. So hopefully.
That's so exciting. Do you do anything? Do you have time for it to do other broadcast stuff, or
diving's just not really on TV that much? And another lady does all the collegiate events and things like that, and that's really the only other time it's on, unfortunately. So hopefully that will change, and then I'd say sign me up. But yeah, right now it's just a once every 4 years kind of thing. But it's fun, That's
kind of amazing. So you are a gold medalist, a coach, a mom, a mentor, a broadcaster. How has your identity shifted? Which one do you think you're wearing the most?
Depends on the day. Probably mom most. I mean, I'm with my kids like 100% of the time, and it's like we're schooling or I'm working, and then I'm shuffling them, doing the taxi driver thing to all the activities in the afternoons and things like that, going out of town to all the volleyball tournaments and stuff. So that's probably the hat I wear the most often, and it's my favorite hat to be fair. But I absolutely love coaching. I love talking to the athletes and seeing them grow and trying to figure out how to do other things. Like I'm trying to figure out ways, because I love one-on-one, but like I don't have that kind of time and bandwidth to really grow too much more. So I'm trying to build up other courses courses and things where I can actually impact a lot more athletes at once. And so I'm working on membership program and some other things like that. So I love tinkering with those things. I love business stuff. I just don't get to do a lot of it. So it's fun.
Do you coach many athletes out of their sport? And
Like
what
afterward?
I mean, yes, that it's time to quit, right? And they've worn this identity as an athlete for years and years and years, and you've obviously shifted from that. And I have to think that's probably really hard.
It is. I was very lost both times I retired.
Oh.
Yeah. So I would love to. I haven't talked to, I mean, maybe one or two, like kind of helped them navigate that a little bit, but I really think there's a need for that. And so thank you for bringing that back to my thought, because I actually thought of doing some workshops and some community stuff for those athletes specifically. And so I need to bring that back, because I think it's important, because you go from having a coach and teammates and support and like a whole medical staff around you, and everything you need is like at your fingertips. And then all of a sudden you're just by yourself. And you have to figure everything out, and that's hard. Like, you still need somebody who can kind of be your coach or your mentor. You still need supports, like, system around you. You still need teammates that are going to cheer you on and be there for you. So figuring that out is really important. So yeah, let's bring that back. That'd be good.
You seem pretty positive, just in general. Like, your whole aura and energy is kind of joyous. Do you have to work on that?
Well, sure. I mean, I'm human.
Yeah.
But I mean, my joy is beyond like here on earth, like I have hope and faith in Jesus. And so I know we win in the end, and I know where I'm going. And so like, it doesn't make this as stressful. I have stressful moments, but like, I know when I can just kind of get back to the basics and the foundation of it, like my hope is in him beyond this world. So
How many
it
times a
makes
day
it
do you
easy.
think you pray?
A lot.
Do you have like an ongoing conversation?
Kind of, yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah, there's definitely longer prayer times, like probably morning and evening when it's more quiet, but like I pray with my kids a lot of little prayers. I mean, had a big speaking event yesterday, and, praying through that, and that I would not just have a good speech, but that it would be impactful, and that I would affect people in a good way, and that they would, I would shine a light, that they would see God through what I'm doing and maybe be reconnected with him.
What was your speech?
It was just a speech to a corporate group. Like, it was really fun. I share my story, but I try to connect with the people in that and teach them lessons, much like we're doing here today. Like, I think it's great. You can teach everywhere you go and share your story, and maybe help somebody a little bit farther along, and they can help you, move a little bit farther along.
So do you remember like the moments before you went up to give your speech that they introduce you and you've not yet walked up, that just moment? What are you thinking in that moment? Are you breathing?
Not much.
Or like,
Yeah,
because there's you've obviously you've walked on the podium 1,000 times, right? Or up on the platform 1,000 times. But there's a moment when you're like, okay, I'm about to go do this. Like, there's that little pause. What are you saying to yourself in that pause? What are you doing? Because you're probably not conscious of it anymore. But if you were going to teach me,
I am conscious of it. Like, that's
okay.
I mean, I'm very, very self-aware, and I always have been. And as I became aware of that, I've become more aware, if that makes sense. And so I actually do, like, I like that you're bringing this up, because I haven't really thought about it lately, but I do operate much like I did in the pool. Like, I get nervous. I do all my thinking. I'm overthinking. I'm trying to get all the little, I'm don't know this intro real well. I want to like work on this because it's specific to this group. I want to make sure that part's impactful. So I'm really focusing on that, because I'm everything else will be great. It's kind of like the easy last dive. I know that one's fine. Like, but I really need to make sure this is good. So I'm thinking about that. Then they play my intro video, and I'm trying not to cry because it's like bringing back stuff. So I'm trying to look away, and I'm thinking again. And then when they start to say my name, I'm just kind of like just waiting. I just let it all go, and then I'm just waiting. And I try to like listen to that person, and just be in the moment from that point on.
Do you regulate your breathing?
Probably like unintentionally. Like,
Yeah.
I think I do take deep breaths, but it's not like I'm not actively thinking about that. That's a pretty natural thing for me to do.
Because that was probably something they worked with you once upon a time, right?
Well, nobody worked with me, but I noticed, like, looking back at videos, I would, take a deep breath before I would go out. Like, so I did that. That was just a natural response for me. And now, of course, I've heard all the science and, like, why that's effective and things like that. So that is just something I've done. Like, it's kind of after that, that's like, okay, this is my time to just let it all go. And now I'm in the moment. I'm clearing my mechanism.
Yes, right. But staying in the moment is huge.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the hardest thing. I think that's the hardest thing for athletes to do is not worry about what has happened, not worry about what's to come, but just be fully present. And that's so difficult, and it takes practice. Like, you can't just show up to the meet and expect to know how to do it. Like, you have to be able to do that in training, and practice it actively to get better at it.
Do you teach people how to stay in the moment? What do you say?
Well, it's a lot of things. Like, there's, you can do mindfulness practices. There's, like if you catch yourself, and part of it's just like being self-aware and learning yourself. Like, okay, I'm not where I should be. I'm somewhere else. Like, that's the first thing you got to do is catch yourself in the moment. Okay, let me focus on 5 things that I can see. Like, let's bring it back to the present. Like, look at 5 things, like recognize them. Like, I see this camera, I see the red chair, and like really kind of thinking about it for a moment. And then, okay, what are 4 things that I'm hearing right now? Like, let me focus on that. So like bringing your senses to life, kind of bring back, like you're actively bringing yourself physically to the present moment, helps your mind come back to the present moment.
I love the 5 things I see, 4 things I hear. It's interesting because once upon a time, I was taught those things too.
Yeah.
Grounding and how to, but now I don't think about it, right? I just am like, whew.
Yeah.
And the process takes 3 seconds,
Right.
whereas it used to,
it takes practice at the beginning, right? But then you get really good at it.
Well, so why they say meditation is a practice. Yoga is a practice. It's not something you achieve. You just keep practicing.
Yeah.
Do you meditate?
I would just say
because you
my
pray.
prayer time. Yeah.
I think meditation is the new popular way of saying prayer.
Well, sort of, but I'm actively praying.
True.
So
true. But
yeah.
for people who are meditating, I just think about the rosary, right? The rosary, you have this progression around the rosary, and it's the repetition of words. And I think about a lot of meditation is the repetition of words.
Well, I'll meditate on scripture, like reading and stuff like that. I'll meditate on, okay, what does this mean? Like trying to think through it and those things. So for sure.
Yeah. Laura, you have been so lovely. This has been so fun. I appreciate you taking the time to come on with us today. You're lovely and amazing, and thank you for being with us today. Please share this podcast with other people that would benefit. You can find Laura actually give us your website if you would.
LauraWilkinson.com. And actually, if you go to LauraWilkinson.com/quiz, you can find out what your competitor type is and get a little freebie and hop on my email list, and I'll send you weekly inspiration.
Oh, I'm going to do that. That's so fun. All right. Thank you so much for being with me, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Okay, 2 weeks.